How's it going, everyone? It's been a couple days, so hopefully by now you have at least 2 copies of some of the new EXs, right? You have either 2 Darkrai or 2 Pachirisu, whatever, but you might be looking to play whatever the best version of that deck is, or just get a starting point for us. What I'm going to do in today's video is show you the best versions of every deck featuring a new EX. What is the best way to play these new EXs tournament proven? So let's get into it. If you guys are enjoying the content, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. I try to do a blend of meta-driven stuff as well as showing you some random things I've cooked up that I do truly believe in and think they can do decently against some of these top decks. So if that's something you're looking for, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, the first EX I want to talk about is Darkrai EX. Now, I know you're all thinking, Weavile Darkrai, it's the best variant. Well, if you haven't been keeping up with the metagame, it is actually not Weavile Darkrai. It is Darkrai Magnezone is the best way to play it. Now, this will hopefully come as a bit of a good news to you if you're someone who does not quite have 2 Darkrai and 2 Weavile. They are in 2 separate packs, so it's kind of difficult to get both of them if you're not spending money on the game. All you're going to need are 2 Darkrai EX. You're going to need the 2 Magnezone from this set, but a lot of these other cards you should have from the other sets and just opening packs over the few months that you had the chance to. Darkrai Magnezone, we play only Dark Energy in this deck. The Magnezone is going to get its Lightning Fulfillment from Magneton's ability Volt Charge, and it is probably the best deck of this format as is. If you look at its tournament performances, it's sitting at like 60% win percentage across the board, across everyone playing the deck. So it is a very, very gross deck. It is taking up the top meta slots of a lot of these tournaments. So if you are looking for a way, if you have Darkrai's, you're in luck because this is absolutely the best deck you can build right now, and this is the best way to play it. What I have here is a first place list from a tournament. The other ways I've seen it be run, really only a couple differences, is I've seen 2 Druddigon instead of 1 Druddigon, 1 Kangaskhan. I would probably run the 2 Druddigon because I hate Kangaskhan. I think it is the worst card in the game. Its Dizzy Punch never does what I need it to when I need it to, so I hate Kangaskhan. I would run 2 Druddigon. That's just a personal thing for me, though. Maybe Kangaskhan is the best Pokemon in the world for you, and he's always done 60 HP or 60 damage every single time you've needed him to. Rest of the list, just trainers that are very valuable at times. Your game plan with this deck is to leave the Druddigon in the active spot, or Kangaskhan, depending on which version you're playing. Set up your Magnezone, get it into a Magneton, charge up some energy. When the Magneton has either 2 or 3 lightning energy, that's when you want to evolve it. While you're doing all that, you're attaching dark energy to either the Magnezone if you think you're gonna need it, if your opponent's going a little bit too quick, but if they're going slow, you can attach that dark energy to the Darkrai and start pinging the active spot, and then they're gonna have to deal with Druddigon Rough Skin damage plus Darkrai's ability pinging damage to the active spot. It is a very, very gross deck. It is somehow incredibly synergistic and is really dominating the meta right now. So this is the best way to play Darkrai. If this is what you pulled, go build this deck right now and you will destroy the ladder. Now, because we just talked about Darkrai, let's talk about Weavile. The best way to play Weavile is still Weavile Darkrai. So if you did manage to get both of those, and maybe Weavile is just your favorite Pokemon and you want to run them, right? This is the way to play it. Weavile Darkrai, it is just a super oppressive deck. You can get up and doing effective 90 damage every from your second turn of the game if you pull off that Dawn play. It is very, very disgusting. Looks like players are opting for the Spiritomb route. Now, I've seen a couple different versions. I've seen Spiritomb with Rocky Helmet. I've seen Spiritomb with Giant Cape. And I've seen Farfetch with either Giant Cape or Rocky Helmet. But it seems like right now the Spiritomb version is doing better. That's what's performing the best. Spiritomb gives you some great synergy with Cyrus. You can use 1 Spiritomb attack and then just have, Gust on whatever Pokemon you want for pretty much the whole game if your opponent filled their bench. It's very, very strong, man. It's just very, very strong. You're a super aggressive deck. The Cyrus lets you do that. The Spiritomb helps you set up for it. Not much more explanation that needs to go into it. Just a very, very powerful, fast deck, and this seems to be the best way to play it. Spiritomb is outperforming the Farfetch variant, and there's a mix of either playing Rocky Helmet or Giant Cape. Just depends, I guess, on your playstyle and what you feel is better. Now let's talk about Palkia. I'm a little bit proud, all right? I seem to have nailed how Palkia should be built on the first try. I remember with Gyarados, it was very contentious. We thought it was going to be very Vaporeon at start, but it ended up being better with Greninja. The Vaporeon variant of Gyarados was just bad. But this is how people are running it. We're not running any supplemental attackers. It's just Palkia. I'm seeing some towards the top with like an Articuno in it or whatever. But for the most part, the decks that are doing the absolute best are this Manaphy Vaporeon variant with nothing else. And they are playing the Giant Capes. The Giant Capes gives the Palkia 170 HP. It's very, very important for some of those other matchups. It takes Palkia out of one-shot range of a Magnezone plus a Darkrai ping, which is something that's very, very important. All right, you're going to be running into a lot of Darkrai Magnezones in tournaments or on the ladder going forward. So this seems to be the best way to play it. We don't worry about the supplementals. We need the room for the Giant Cape, and the rest of the list is pretty standard. So just straight Palkia. We use that Manaphy to power him up, and then we use the Vaporeon to move the energy around wherever we need it to go. Now let's talk about Infernape. With the deck list so consistent and linear, it messed up my graphic layout. This is how we're running Infernape. Moltres plus Dawn package. That's it. This deck is ridiculously fast. You don't need a lot of energy to get the Infernape going, just the 2 energy. And you have the Pokemon communications, which make setting up a stage 2 Pokemon with not a lot of Pokemon in the deck happen very, very quickly. This is the best placing list I've seen so far. It got 7th place at a 500 player tournament, so a very, very respectable showcase. And it elects to go with, again, just straight consistent. We're not playing any Gust in here. We're playing 2 Giovanni to boost that Infernape's damage up to 150, and then 2 Giant Cape to boost the health of our Infernape and our Moltres. Now, the 2 Giovanni is decent for sure, but we're seeing a lot more decks run Giant Cape now, which is gonna put the Infernape out of one-shot range of a lot of these bigger EX decks. So that's Palkia, that's what else? That's Darkrai with a cape, that's Weavile with a cape. You're not going to be able to one-shot those. So, me personally, I've been playing it with Rocky Helmet plus Giovanni in order to hit those numbers. But I've not played the Giant Cape version, so maybe it's just better to make our Infernape have 190 HP and go for a 2-shot thing against our opponent. It could totally be possible. This is the tournament-proven one, so maybe you just want to go with this list. It's super linear. You just put Moltres in the active spot, get the energy onto the Infernape, swing into it as soon as you can, and start dealing 140 damage. You can likely do back-to-back attacks with the Dawn play if you've, spread enough energy out on the bench. Just a very, very fun deck. You will win games incredibly fast. Games are usually over very, very quick with Infernape. So if you're just looking to get some quick wins in, trying to play a couple of very, very fast games, pick this one up. I love it. It's great. Also, you just need the 2 Infernape from this set, and not a whole lot else. It's pretty cheap to make as far as new decks go. So very, very fun. If you have Infernape, I would be thrilled right now. This is the best starting point, so go give it a try. One of my personal favorite decks of this new set. Okay, you guys ready to talk about Dialga for an hour? If there were only 2 EXs you could have pulled, Dialga would probably be the best because it allows for a lot of options. You are going to need some other new EXs to play all the Dialga variants, but it's neither here nor there. Dialga Melmetal. This is the best, Dialga without a new EX paired with it. We use Dialga to power up the Melmetal or the Mew or the Tauros. This is just a sort of toolbox deck. The Dialga allows you to use a bunch of different attackers in your matchups, depending on what you're playing against. You might want to attack with the Mew or the Tauros or the Melmetal. Totally dependent. Dialga has not done as well as some of these other decks that I just showed you. In this variant, this is the best, like I said, just Dialga one, so I figured I would show it to you if Dialga is the only EXs you've pulled, but there are better ways to play Dialga, it seems. Just wanted to let you guys know that if you've been looking to build Dialga Melmetal, this is the way to go. This is the best performing list so far. Now, for the LickyLicky fans, I've got bad news for you. It doesn't seem like LickyLicky is really doing much in the meta at this moment, but the best way to play it seems to be, again, paired with Dialga EX. LickyLicky is 4 energy requirement on a colorless Pokemon. You don't get to use, Moltres like you would want to. You could try a LickyLicky Manaphy variant, but I don't think that would be very good either. It seems like Dialga's the best way to play it. I thought this deck would be a lot better than it was, and then after playing it myself, it just kind of falls flat a lot of the time. I don't know what it is about it, but it just wasn't working for me. So if you have LickyLickies, this is the best way to play it. I don't think it's going to be that great. But the games you win will feel really, really good, right? Because you will have like 160 HP LickyLicky on the bench. If your Licking Furies go well and you're able to one-shot big Pokemon in the active spot, it's going to feel fantastic. So it's a very, very fun deck. It's just not the best. Okay, we're talking somewhere in the middle here of what's the best way to play Yanmega, what's the best way to play Dialga. It seems like the answer to that is the two of them together. There is one more Yanmega deck I'm going to show you, but as far as our Dialga list that we're going through right now, this is the best way to play Dialga. Dialga paired with Yanmega. Yanmega is a ridiculously powerful attacker in this meta. It does just enough damage with the weakness on Darkrai to one-shot a Darkrai, and there are Darkrai's everywhere. It's also just 120 HP, or it does 120 damage, and you discard an energy from it, so you're able to just attach an energy again to it and attack again. We use the Giant Capes to build the HP of our Pokemons, the Rocky Helmet in some cases to deal some extra damage when our opponent attacks into us. Seems like a very, very good just counter meta deck. The Yanmega, again, is here as that counter meta guy. He is fantastic at dealing with Darkrai's, and the 120 HP, or 120 damage is just solid enough to help you overcome some of the other big EX matchups. So this is the way to play Yanmega. Dialga seems to be their best pairing. This is the best way to play Dialga for sure. So if you're looking to run, if Dialga's your favorite and you want to run him, I would look to build this deck. Now, if you only got Yanmegas and you don't have any Dialgas, this is another perfectly acceptable choice. I would say that the power of Dialga, Yanmega, and Yanmega Executor is about equal, and this is good for all of the same reasons. Instead of using Dialga to power up our Yanmegas, we're just using the Executor to get that early damage in and slowly attach to either our Mew or our Yanmega on the bench and use them as our backup attackers. Executor, I've been a long time fan of him. He is just one of the greatest early game attackers we have in this game. We have the Ericas. The Ericas also gets to heal your Yanmega, which is cool. Don't know if that's ever going to take Yanmega out of a two-shot range because it has that 20 less HP, which is very important. And we don't play any Giant Capes. I have played a bit of Executor in this new format, and the Giant Capes didn't feel like they helped me unless I was playing a build with, like, Shaman as well. You really need more than just 20 extra HP plus an Erica heal to make Executor live an additional attack. So yeah, this is the best way to play just Yanmega. Extremely powerful. Again, this is more of a counter meta deck. I like it a lot. I think Yanmega is super cool. I'm gonna go try this deck out probably after this video because I just got my second Yanmega, so I can now run some of these Darkrai hate decks. Very, very exciting. Let's talk about Pachirisu. You would think, Pachirisu is going to do the best paired with Pikachu, right? No. Pachirisu does the best on his own. Pachirisu, 18 trainers, has been putting up some numbers in these online tournaments, and it is just the best, solo EX deck in the game. You have the Pachirisu, which is going to be powered up on your second turn, unless you went first, then your third turn, but whatever. You need 2 energy attachments for him, and you're likely going to be swinging for 80 damage once you get that 2 energy on him. You're playing 5 tools to fulfill the extra damage cost of, Sparking Gadget, and do that 80 damage every turn. Yeah, it just looks to be a very quick deck. You just try to outspeed your opponent. You have all of these trainers, you have all the space in the world for all these trainers to make your opponent's life suck, right? The 2 Serena, the 2 Cyrus, 4 Gust cards in one deck is ridiculous. 2 potions just to make the Pachirisu live a little bit longer. Yeah, not much more to it, man. You just put Pachirisu in the active spot and play whatever trainers are glowing in your hand for the turn. Very funny deck. If you got 2 Pachirisu and you were so sad like I was when my first 2 EXs I got were Pachirisu, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I got the most worthless thing first. Why did this happen to me? No, it actually seems like there's a deck to be built here. Let's talk Gallade. I had to dig deep for Gallade. It seems like Gallade is one of the worst EXs in the set. Looks like the bottom three are going to be LickyLicky, Gallade, and Mismagius. Maybe people just haven't cracked Gallade, but he's not doing as well as you would want him to. And there's a couple reasons for that. I mean, the Ralts and the Curlia have Dark Weakness, which is not fantastic for you. It's a stage 2. The Gallade just doesn't have the damage output you would want him to. His Energized Blade is not doing enough to one-shot most things, even with a Lucario. So yeah, like these 150 HP guys are just too much for the Gallade to get through in one hit. So sadly, Gallade is not doing fantastic, but this is the best performing list I found. Looks like we pair it with Gallade, or with Lucario and Marshadow as our damage boosters and our secondary attackers, and we use Giant Capes to boost the health of anything we need. So this is the best way to play Gallade. Again, just warning you, doesn't look like it's been performing as well as the other EXs I've showed you. But if that's what you got and you really want to play a Gallade deck, this is where to start. For our last EX Pokemon, I had to go all the way to the bottom of the Mariana Trench to find a list for this, and I'm not even sold that this is like the correct way to play Mismagius, if there is one. People have been playing it with Togekiss. Mismagius is just a very weak EX. He has Dark Weakness, which is the worst thing to have right now. He does 70 damage and leaves your opponent's active Pokemon confused. I think this card would have been better if Confusion did what Confusion does in the real card game. As far as I know, Confusion right now, if you flip Tails on your Confusion flip, you just don't attack. In the real game, you take damage yourself. So that would have been a way for, if your opponent goes for the gamble, Mismagius now might be able to two-shot some of these 150 HP EXs, or at least make them risk that, right? Like now the risk is just, oh, I can't attack this turn, but I'm still not getting knocked out by the Mismagius, so, you know, whatever. I'll just, I'll go for it. And even if you don't have to go for it, you can just retreat out of the Confusion. Confusion is just not as good as Sleep. Nowhere even close. Your opponent can still retreat out. Yeah, it looks like Togekiss has been the best performing. I think this list went like 4-4, so it went dead even. Just not a great card overall. Maybe the new worst EX we have. Again, just the Dark Weakness really holds this thing back. So if Mismagius is who you pulled, I'm sorry. You're not going to be doing much. Let me know if you ended up cracking Mismagius, if you've got a better list than this. Because again, no one's really playing it in tournaments, and the ones that do, they play it with Togekiss. So, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Again, make sure you like and sub to the channel if you're enjoying any of the content I do here. I really appreciate it. Have a nice night.